one more thing I just really wanted to check. Check it. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's begin. Sorry for the technical difficulties. This is our NCAA eligibility and college recruiting workshop brought to you by the Boston Public Schools. Here's the recruiting reality, right? Only 2% of our young people are able to compete at Division One, right? And we have to have the reality, or not just Division One, but college in general. But the reality is there are multiple pathways for you to get there, whether it's Division One, Division 1, 2, or 3, NAIA, JUCO, junior college. You also, if you have high academic standards or you have high grade point average, you could also get grants and scholarship eligibility opportunities. But the key piece for the families that I want folks to hear is that you have 100% have to choose the right school. You 100% have to choose the right school. But you have to do the pre-work. And this is the conversation that we're going to have about the pre-work. If you're a family, you have to look at the appropriate checklist, right? If you're a parent and you're watching, you have to have this checklist be on point. One, you have to look at your academic progress. And we're going to help you with that. We're going to tell you what that looks like. Two, you have to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. We can help you with that. I'll give you the links. We'll share out with the families who fully registered. We'll share out the slide deck. You also have to have a highlight film. Highlight films are important. They're not too long, right? Don't send if you're a football player, don't send it of you warming up. If you're a basketball player, no one wants to see you shooting free throws and warming up in the lamp line. We want direct and very clear film. Also, research your pathways, contact college coaches, and then we have multiple workshops that we're able to support families with. So that's your path. If you're in Boston, here's the thing for you to do. Immediately when you go to school on Monday, you go to your counselor or your school counselor, your athletic director, and you literally say to them, "Hey, how can I get my NCAA how do I fill out the NCAA eligibility? How do I get my NCAA number? What are the courses that are approved by the NCAA? And then can we have a meeting with my mom or my dad about sports so that you could be college and career ready to be successful?" So those pieces are important. Talk to your school counselors. Make sure that your schools have classes that the NCAA accepts. The NCAA, if you have a new course in your school, the school must send those courses to the NCAA for approval, right? So you have to make sure that you have to make sure that the school does due diligence with that. Have a goal, right? No matter what, playing in college is a privilege. Playing on the next level is a privilege. Like literally, it doesn't matter what level you play on. The difference between Division 3 and Division 2 and 1 is that Division 3 doesn't have athletic money. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have grant money. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have funding, right? There's no real difference. And honestly, a lot of our Division 3 schools could beat a lot of D2s. Sometimes D1, like back in a few years ago, UMass Boston beat Holy Cross in a basketball game. Let's just jump into some athletics really quick. In the division, on the Division 3 level, you get your GPA together. You have a high GPA, and it's oftentimes you're eligible for merit-based scholarships. I just mentioned that. Merit-based scholarships. Sometimes it's the merit scholarship. Sometimes it's the presidential. Division 3 schools do not have athletic scholarships, but they can really help you through the merit process, financial aid, and there's some work study opportunities. And those schools can include a lot of the state schools, a lot of private schools as well. UMass Boston, for example, has approximately, I think they have like 14,000 kids, which is the size of a Division 1 school, but they do not provide athletic scholarships. All of their funds are related to All their funds are related to GPA or eligibility or getting scholarship, but it's not an athletic department where they give you money for sports. That does not happen. Transitioning here. Sorry, you all. Need to change. All right. Sorry about that. Still get some technical stuff. Division II athletics. You need a minimum 2.2 core GPA and 16 courses passed. We'll talk about the courses in a second. An SAT and ACT score that matches your clearinghouse-based GPA. The SAT and ACT doesn't matter as much anymore. That's just a matter of preference. I wanted to highlight that. But if you want to play football on a Division II level, there's 36 full and partial scholarships. Those scholarships could be split up, right? If you want to play Division II basketball, there are 10 scholarships which could be split, right? They could be broken up. These standards are like the minimum to be eligible for NCAA, so don't settle for that 2.2. Make sure that your personal standards are a lot higher, right? Make sure you have higher standards. So Division III, you have your GPA. Division II, your minimum is your 2.2, right? And Division I AA, which we don't talk about enough, if you're a football person, right? You have there's 10 courses that have to be completed by your senior year. That is no longer the case, right? I just want to highlight that minimum completed by senior year. That's no longer the case. Is applicable to all the other sports. Women's soccer in D2, these same Division II regulations will be applicable to that. So this same slide here is applicable to all Division II sports, right? So when you're looking at Division II and you're a women's soccer player, that's the eligibility rule there. Thank you for that question. Division I AA athletics, they get 65 scholarships. If you are playing football, it is divided among 85 athletes. These standards are the minimum to be eligible to NCAA. Who are your Division I AA athletics? Those are your Merrimacks, your Bryants. Merrimack is all for the football level. It is 1AA, your Sacred Hearts of the world. Division I athletics, 2.3 core GPA, 16 courses passed over 4 years. Please disregard the 10 core courses completed by senior year. That is not, since COVID, that is not an issue anymore, right? The SAT, ACT, no longer an issue in itself anymore as well, right? They're no longer for Division I and II eligibility, right? There's no longer a SAT sliding scale. Division I and II eligibility standards are 16 core courses and GPA only. I repeat that. SAT, ACT scores are no longer required for NCAA Division I and II. Right? Now, if you are a Division I player, right? You can go. There used to be a rule where you can only go on 5 visits. Now you can go on unlimited visits, and we'll talk about that eventually, right? And then we could also have some separate conversations about NIL deals. People think that NILs are schools paying kids. No, the endorsements and all those other folks are able to do all that. Name, image, and likeness, right? So educate yourselves, parents and kids. NIL, name, image, likeness. And there's a clear distinction between NCAA eligibility and college admission. And if you're eligible for the NCAA, you may be able to slide in a school, but some schools may take the college admission instead of, even if you're NCAA eligible. So those pieces are important. We went over Division 2, 3, 2, 1. The key point you need to hear is that Division 3, they don't have athletic scholarships. Do they have money? Yes. Yes. NAIA. The minimum for the to go to NAIA school is 2.0. 970 SAT score above, 18 on the ACT score. A lot of private schools, right? They're kind of similar to a Division two NCAA. The only NAIA school in Massachusetts is Fisher College, but they are 241 schools across the country. So NAIA is a nice opportunity. Oftentimes they're a small school. You can play tons of sports there. I recommend that you explore your NAIA schools. Junior colleges. Junior colleges are 2-year schools that offer opportunities for athletes to raise their GPA or have NCAA standards. Once you're in a junior college, there is an expectation that you maintain a certain standard 2.0 GPA. I think what is changing now, and the rules are still kind of blurred, is that you could actually play 2 junior college years and then go and play 4 years at a 4-year school, right? The lines there are still blurred. But some junior colleges offer housing and scholarships. So it's not all bad if you're trying to get your eligibility together, right? It's not all bad, right? A lot of people look down on junior college, but sometimes if you're just not mature enough, if you're just not that athlete, and you're trying to like get an opportunity, oftentimes the junior college coaches work harder than anybody else. They're on you every day because there's a lot more to lose. So, but my thing with the junior college, you choose the right coach, the right program, and as a parent, you ask about their commitment level. And if they're committed to the students the way that they say they are, you will. That is the place for you. Prep schools. Prep schools act as they tend to act as the 5th year of high school, but they do not count towards a student athlete's college eligibility. Let me answer this question. Are there JUCOs in Massachusetts? A lot. Mass Bay, Massasoit, Bunker Hill. There's a few more. Oh, Quinsigamond. There's a ton of them. Easy Googleable. But if I'm you, I'm asking about their ability to get you some housing. Now, here's the prep school situation. If you want to go to a prep school and you want to have a 5th year, your 5th year does not count. The NCAA takes your first 4 years of school. You get into prep schools based on your financial aid. If you're a late bloomer and you want to do that post-grad, you can. Please do not think that that 5th year is going to get you anywhere with the NCAA as far as eligibility. If you already have your 4 years and you have your grades and your unless you have some special exception, no, go there, lift weights, shoot your basketball or play your tennis or your hockey and focus on that. But do not think that you're going to replace a bad 9th grade year or a bad 10th grade year academically with a year of prep school. That's not going to happen. That's not why it's there if you're reclassing, right? But if you go from the jump and you get those grades, your first 4 years, you're eligible. I think prep schools are a great option, but you have to make sure it's affordable. And if you're a kid that's, we lose a lot of kids to prep schools, but I think you just have to ask the right questions. Will I play? You don't want to spend all that money and then you have to go sit somewhere. But I will say that most of our schools in BPS will get you through the NCAA based on their program of studies. That way you don't have to deal with any other rigorous pieces to it. Here's the recommended timeline. 9th grade, take all of this and go 1 year down. This is recommended. But if you're in 8th grade and you're going to talk to your school counselor, you find someone to talk to about registering for your NCAA classes next year. So like if you're in a 7 through 12, make sure you get into NCAA approved classes. Go to schools and say, hey, what classes are approved by the NCAA? That's a fair question. So you can take them, because we've had kids lose out because they're taking the wrong course, or the NCAA doesn't accept the course. Register with the NCAA clearinghouse. Although Division 1 and 2, they're not taking the SAT, ACT. Make sure you do that though, just in case you're not playing. Division 1 and 2. Now, here's the thing. In 11th grade, ask your school counselor or whoever does that college process for you to upload your official transcript to the NCAA Eligibility Center at the end of the year. That way you're uploaded and all set. In 12th grade, make sure that your clearinghouse checklist is complete. If it's not complete, they're not going to take you, right? And then here's the thing that jams kids up. I'm giving you all, I've seen this, it's happened. You have to upload your final official transcript and proof of graduation to the NCAA Center. 100% has to happen. People look at kids and think, wow, they're going to go to college and going to do great things. But these are the things that stop kids more often than they do help kids be successful. So utilize the timeline. Now let's talk about core courses. We talked about those 16 courses. You need 4 years of English, 3 or more years of math, 3 or more years of physical science or social science, physical sciences, natural sciences, 3 or more of social sciences, 2 or 3 years of foreign languages, a religion, a gym, or philosophy course. Here's the thing you need to hear. A gym class is not going to get you through the NCAA. Neither will an elective or a health class. And if it is a class that is not atypical of that, you must have the school get it approved through the NCAA. Now, people will not, I'm Boston Public Schools. People will not Boston Public Schools, but the traditional Boston Public School student who gets 4 years of English, 4 years of math, and all these other pieces, you can get up to 19. You only need 60. But in your typical BPS school, you could get up to 19, which is crazy for all the knock on public schools, right? And if you're in a charter school, ask the questions. A lot of these pop-up charter schools happen, and then people are like, "Oh, I took English, I took math, I took geography, but did your school, which is less than 10 years old, did your school get these courses approved in the NCAA? Because if they haven't, guess what? The NCAA is like, nah, you're not taking them. You're not college eligible. I don't want parents to find this out last minute, right? You make sure you hold schools and yourselves accountable to taking the accurate courses. 4 years of English, 3 or more of math, 3 or more of science, 3 or more of social sciences, history, 3 or more foreign language, 2 or more foreign language. But we're going to give you a huge tip in the next slide. Oh, not this one. I just mentioned this, 16 or more. 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 2 or more. 1 additional year of English and math and science and get you 10 out of 16. If you do the social sciences, you get to 12. But then you could pick from these 2 to get to the 16. But your average BPS student could go through your typical program of studies and end up with 19. Here's why 19, you need 16. But here is why 19 is more important. Here's your typical schedule. This is what you want if you're a parent and you're a student. By the end of 10th grade, you need at least 2 English, a geometry, a chemistry. By 12th grade, this is all the things you need. This is how you can get to 19. Right here. But you need 16. But I'm going to tell you in a second why 19 is more important. All right? Aim for 19, you get 16, cool. But in 9th grade, you better get that English, that math, that bio, or whatever requirement for science, that history, that Spanish. You get to that 5 at the end of 9th grade, you're cooking. But you're cooking with grease at the end of 10th grade with that 10 or more of that 16. Because you have, and here's another critical tip. I don't even care if you write this down. The NCAA could give a damn about B minuses or B or pluses. All they see is a B. All they see is an A. All they see is a B. All they see is a C. They don't care about the B minus. the A plus, all they see is those numbers because it helps with the calculation. A is a 4, a B is a 3, a C is a 2, a D is a 1. That's how you calculate GPA. That's how the NCAA calculates GPAs. So between 70 and 79, all they're seeing is a C. Well, I got a C plus. Doesn't matter. They don't care. So if you want to get through the NCAA clearinghouse, you can definitely make sure you pay attention to that piece. Here's a grid. Shout out to my guy, Greg Bluestein for helping me with this grid. This is the most important slide on this presentation. This is the reason we want this presentation. If you take, remember I said you need 16. If you get to 19, this is a 19 grid. This individual got a D in bio, got a D in sociology. Got a C in sociology, got an F in Spanish. They have the 16 here. 4 years in English, right? 4 years of math, all in the green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, boom, right? 13, 14, 15, 16. The reason why the 19 is important, I need you to hear me. If I have those 3 extra courses, I could take this bio and substitute it for this Spanish class. This Spanish class. You could substitute your 3 lowest grades for other courses that you did well in. So if I already, for example, if I have this D in bio and I have this A in Spanish, I could substitute that out for this bio. You could substitute, so that's why 19 is important. If you just have 16, you can't substitute anything. But you can take the 3 extra courses and substitute them out. So I'm subbing out this F in Spanish. My 2-year-old is active here. I can substitute this F in Spanish, right, for a world history grade. I can substitute this sociology grade, substitute that out for one of the science grades here. As long as I could take my top 16 classes. That is so critical. That's why you need the 19 and not the 16. This is just on NCAA. On SAT. Let's talk about recruiting really quick. Obviously, poor grades and attendance. No one wants to recruit anybody who doesn't come to school. If you don't go to school, you don't go to practice. If you don't get the grades in high school, you can't perform in college. If a coach asks you who you are as a player, it has to reflect who you are as a person. You always have to be ready. They don't just recruit you, they recruit your family. So if your family's doing the most, if you're a parent that's doing the most on the sidelines and acting up, I can't help you. I'm not recruiting all that. When you talk bad first impression, firm handshake, kids, there's been coaches who said that, well, you know what, this kid walked lazy. This kid didn't look like, those are real things. Parental red flags. Coaches ask about parents. They don't want to see you acting up. They don't want to see you with a highlight tape and all kinds of foul language, and the N-word is in your music, or your highlight music. Nobody wants to hear that. They're not recruiting that. Don't get me wrong. There's coaches with no standards who would just take anybody as long as they're, the best athlete. And you got to be real. Look at the film. Look at who's recruiting at the other schools that you want to go to. That piece is important. All right. I'm going to pause for a quick second because I want to make sure that folks could ask the appropriate questions that they need. If you have any questions, ask them now because we're going to transition into some of the NCAA direct guide interpretations. Give you guys a second for that. Okay. Okay. All right. And here we go. All right, folks. Try to zoom in here a little bit. You know this guy? Good. All right. Really quick on the NCAA guide. All right, we're going to give you some tips. Make sure you guys can see what this looks like. I'll talk you through it. This explains what the NCAA is, right? Here's how many winter sports that the NCAA has, right? Depending on your school, some schools may have all of them. Fencing, wrestling, tons of these Olympic sports, right? Some of our 3 divisions. I think one of the things that you notice, right, is the enrollment for Division 3, 2, and 1 is Division 1 is significantly bigger. 1 in 5 Division 3 students play a sport. 1 in 7 for Division 2. 1 in 22 for Division 1. But their Division 1 schools are significantly bigger. The average number of teams per school in Division 1 is 19 versus Division 3, which is 19 also. But Division 2 tends to be significantly smaller, more specialized. The percentage of NCAA athletes in each division, Division 3 is on par with Division 1. Once again, one has athletic money, the other one doesn't. I think it's important to highlight that the athletic scholarships, Division 1 and 2 have them. No athletic scholarships in Division 3. 80% of the athletes receive non-athletics aid. Right? Now, the did you know is something that you have to pay attention to. Division 1 schools award over $3 billion in athletic scholarships. Division 2 is the only division with schools in Alaska, Puerto Rico, and Canada. Division 3, their largest school has 28,000 kids. It's insane. Here's your high school timeline. I'm going to share the PDF. Absolutely. I'll make sure I put it. I'll make sure I send it out. You guys can't see the. You can't. I'm not sure if you could put the. I don't know if I could. It's going to let me. This is your NCAA Bible, right? Your timeline. You register. You plan. You study. You graduate. Remember what I said. Remember what I said. Make sure your school counselor uploads your final transcript when you graduate. Because they're looking at tons of athletes and they just need to see that it's uploaded. They just need to see that it's there. So make sure. Work this timeline. Parents, talk to your kids. Do not let some kid come home and be like, yeah, I'm going pro. And your response needs to be how? You failed algebra. You didn't take science. Right now, you're behind. Use that as a tool, as an engagement tool for you guys to go on this athletic journey together. And if you don't play college sports, so what? You find yourself with an athlete who goes to school more, who is connected to the school, who understands team communications and social skills. That's what sports does. The highest performing students in the Boston Public Schools are the athletes. They come to school. They go to college. They tend to have better grades. They pay attention more. There's more in line. They're more connected. Your registration checklist. That is critical, right? if you're trying to play Division III, you want to make sure that you have your permanent residence in the U.S. You have to have whether you have to have a profile together. You have to get to the NCAA Eligibility Center, and that's found at eligibilitycenter.org. Make sure you do that. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you all. I'm trying to give you all the critical pieces. Your essentials. Listen, do not have a bogus email. Check your email all the time. If you have an email, you go through your email if you're a kid, adults, as me, I go through my email all the time. I'm attached to it. But you got to go through your email at least once a day. You never know who's sending you opportunities or when things have changed. You have a valid email. You make sure that you have your sports participation history ready. Boom. I mentioned this earlier. NCAA approved courses. What is a core course? English, math, science, social science, world history, comparative religion, philosophy. If you could actually go and look online to see if your school has courses that are eligible for the NCAA. You could Google that. You could just put in your high school code and then put in the state, put in the city, and then you could find that out. And if they're not, hold them accountable. And if it's one of our schools at BPS, hold us accountable. I'll make the call on Monday. Hey, we need to get this course approved. That's important. All right. Here's how you get some of your courses. You could get credit for dual enrollment. Courses taken before high school. You can, right? It's circumstantial if the courses are approved. Some of you 8th graders, you may do that. Here's another important thing. Courses taken after high school. Right? A course taken after high school graduation may be used towards your initial eligibility certification. But for Division I, only core courses completed in 4 consecutive academic years. I've said that before. From your initial start of 9th grade will be used. Only your first 4 years. Division I does not care. For Division II, you may be able to use a number of courses you completed after graduation. So in the summer or before enrolling full time. Those critical little pieces are important. Your transcript. I already mentioned that. You 100% have to get it uploaded. For international students, right? You have to go and see and analyze the rules for international students, which has some complexities to it because they are going to request your sending schools transcripts. There also is a website for homeschool students as well. Grade point average. We went through that. We talked about how the NCAA, they do not care about A minuses, B minuses, C minuses, A plus, B plus. They're just looking at the quality points. A4, B3, C2, D1. See you later. Students with disabilities. Education impacting disabilities. Here's the thing that you have to hear. This is not a situation. When you get to college, you have to bring the student, not the parent, has to walk the IEP into the college. Parents cannot do that for students, right? Some of your education impacting disabilities, you may be hard of hearing or deaf. You may be on the spectrum. You have a medical condition, a mental health condition. Leave that, mama. Leave that, honey. Right? If you have a documented education impacted disability, you may get a medical accommodation. That's important. I talked about the academic standards for Division One. Very clear, very succinct, right? Look at your schedule. If you want to play D1, this is how you get to the 16. But I recommended that 19. English, math, science, social science. Boom. English, math, science, social science. Boom. Division 2. English, math, science. Right? They require 16 as well. On this PDF, there's also a Division 2 worksheet. You have to pay attention. International students. You have to have your transcripts for 9 years and up in your native language. You need proof of graduation. You need certified line-by-line English translations of these documents if you want to play. It's hard for international students. Homeschool students, right? You have to make sure that you have a process to determine overall grades and that students achieve the courses, right? You have to have a separate registration if you're a homeschool student. We can help you with that. There's no ability without eligibility, right? But you have to register through the NCAA eligibility. So if we're looking at sports, and somebody asked a question earlier, let's dig into your sports a little bit, right? Let's dig into your sports a little bit. If you decide that you don't want to go right away to a school, you have a grace period. Men's tennis, 6 months. Ice hockey, and for Division 1, up to your 21st birthday. With D2, your grace period is 3 years. Skiing is different. All other sports, your grace period for Division 1 is 12 months. Division 2, 12 months. Division 3, 12 months. A Division 3 student athlete can use a 12-month grace period in all sports after high school graduation. Right? Your delay period starts October 1st or March 1st, depending on when you graduate. That's important. It's almost like deferring. Amateurism, right? And recruitment. Are you being recruited? Don't tell somebody you're not if you're not getting this information, right? Don't be out here saying you're being recruited and you're not. When are you getting calls, texts, emails? Are they coming to your high school? Are they paying for you to come on campus? Is there some sort of financial aid offer? Are they following you on social media and talking to you on social media? You're not being recruited until somebody talks to your parent. Facts. Now, what is your best practice? This is your best practice, right? Discuss your goals. Register the NCAA. Research your school. Have your NCAA ID. Tell your parents to take you on an unofficial visit. The official visit is the one that the school pays for. The unofficial visit is them talking, is you just showing up. Sometimes coaches can't talk to you, but they can talk to you if you're on campus. The questions to ask, right? The NCAA does not include acceptance to the NCAA school recruiting you, right? In addition to receiving your academic and athletic certification for eligibility center, you must also apply to be accepted to the NCAA school. So you can't just get in based on being an athlete. You have to be able to get into the school in some circumstances as well. So you have to still do the application. You ask the questions. Do you have on-campus housing? Do you help me with my schedule? Do you have internships? What is the financial aid? What is the attendance? And you talk to the coaches. How can I get help on campus? Do you have athletic trainers? What is your philosophy as a coach? How do you help people rehabilitate? Do you have NIL teams? Right? That's important. Scholarships. No, this is what you need. You get a scholarship, here's what it covers. Division 1 and 2, tuitions and fees, food and housing. Now, Division 2 is year to year. So there's no multi-year. Like sometimes Division 1, they'll give you the multi-year scholarship, but everybody's year to year. If they want you out, they will force you out. Trust me. Here's your recruiting guidelines. Right? There's a contact period where coaches can contact you. There's evaluation period, right? There's a quiet period where nobody says anything. Don't think you're not being recruited when they're in the dead period. You can, right? They can still talk to you. And when there's a recruiting shutdown, you're not hearing from anybody. Unofficial visits versus official visits. Very clear. I made that clear already. If you are Division I and they provide, they can give you money, $60 per person. They give you food, up to 3 meals a day. They can give you transportation. Division III can do the same thing. They can actually give you bring 4 family members, you get all $40. You get 3 meals a day. You get lodging. That's an official visit. An unofficial visit, you're on your own. No complimentary meals. Division III, you can get a complimentary meal though. And then finally, you look at the terms for success, right? The most important terms found in this PDF, this resource guide, contact period, core courses, all these things I mentioned. A preferred walk-on. A preferred status means that a college coach wants you on the team, but doesn't have scholarship money for you, right? So if you're not getting recruited and you want to talk to colleges, you say to them like, "Hey, I could be a preferred walk-on. You know, I can do those things." Verbal commitment. When you verbally agree to play sports for a college, before you sign or you are eligible to sign any athletic aid agreement, the commitment is not binding. I can commit. My daughter's 2. She can commit to Harvard right now. Don't mean she's going to Harvard, right? So just be very careful with that. But you want to really celebrate the value of going to college and being an athlete. You actually, as a parent, if you're still on here, I don't thank you guys for joining us, but here's the thing that is amazing, right? They have a time management, what you should expect, right? You need 168 hours total, right? They want you to spend 15.5 hours at the Division III level socializing, 40 hours on academics, which is the most out of all 3. They recommend 28 hours in athletics in your sports, weightlifting, sleep, job, extracurriculars. I mean, it's down to a science. And honestly, this works. Start practicing in high school, right? Start doing all those pieces. The percentage of student athletes who say they spend as much time on athletics during the offseason as they do in the competitive season. 67, 43, 47. Yes, the Division III folks, they be getting jobs and all that stuff. So what takes up most of your time? Sure, all this stuff. Participation, boom. Division III athlete, note that their athletic experience did not hinder their academics because you tend to have balance. When you play Division I and II, it's a business. They kind of own you. You got to get up in the morning, 5:30 practice, go to class. Then you have a study hall. Then you have lunch together. Then you work out. You practice again. You study hall. You go home. You repeat. I mentioned NIL earlier. Those pieces are important. Transfer students. Thinking about going pro, huh? All right, let's talk about that really quick. Really quick. There are 478,451 high school student athletes. Obviously, it translates to the average of 38,000 NCAA athletes. Only 444 of them get drafted. That's 8% to the NCAA, high school to NCAA. The percentage going to major or professional, 5.1. It's lower in men's basketball, lower in women's basketball, lower in women's soccer, lowest in softball. You got to be great no matter what you do. The bottom line, y'all, you have to use your tools and ask the right questions of your schools. You have to have the reality conversation with your student if it's too late. If you are a junior and freshman year you had all Fs, you got to talk about recovery time. You got to talk about recouping those grades the whole night. If you receive the email from me about this registration, I will send you all the slides. I will send you all the information you need. If you need me to talk to a BPS school counselor or a school about your eligibility, I won't lie to you, right? If you need me to talk to your kid about that, I won't lie to you. If your kid's good enough, I will know. If they're not, I'll tell you what they need to work on. If they don't have a chance, that is the reality. Sports is a privilege. It's not a right. And honestly, everything that they work on the sport, they should be working on as a human. So you got to push those things. So if your son or daughter comes home and sleeps, and because they think they got it made, because college coaches are calling them, college coaches will drop you the second they find out you're not eligible. Trust me. I had some kids that were recruited. Hey, I got 5 state championships. I've been through the gauntlet with college coaches. And they've dropped some of my kids who were not eligible, who ended up going to other places because they were. But they will drop you. But when they're recruiting you and you're eligible, listen, and I'll leave with this. I had a school recruiting my son because they wanted to recruit my player. Meaning that my son had a flag football game. At the time, he was like 8. And the college wanted to recruit one of my players, and the college coach came to my son's flag football game. Big business, $3 billion. Any questions? Feel free to reach out. We try to have one or two of these every year. We appreciate you. My email is cmccarthy2@bostonpublicschools.org. If you're a non-BPS person and you want the information, make sure you contact me. cmccarthy2@bostonpublicschools.org. Thank you for joining us. See you in the next session. Yes, honey.